Well, Hogan, today we have the supreme luxury of being joined by the one and only, the great Kaelan Dorr. Kaelan, good to
KD
see
in
you.
the house.
Welcome
What's going
aboard
on,
again.
guys? Long time listener, first time dialer inner in the year 2024.
First time this year? Are you sure about that?
I'm very sure about that. Yeah,
Huh.
I've just been waiting for a callback. But
You
much like chasing women in high school, it's not panned out the way I
I did not get a call back.
not gonna
right.
call
Yeah. Keep in touch. Hope you have a great summer.
back.
Yeah. So Sonny's not with us. Sonny is a little under the weather, and I hope she'll be better. And I hope she'll be. Oh, she just had, she had 105-degree fever or something. She was speaking.
Sonny's no longer with us.
Yeah, she wasn't making much sense. I said, just take some aspirin and lie down, would you? But I think she'll be back next week. She'll be fine. But there's a whole lot to talk about. We're coming up. We're actually putting this to bed a day or two earlier than we normally do because of the Independence Day holiday coming up. So I want to talk about some of our favorite patriotic movies, if you guys will. We've already been talking about it, and I love your T-shirt, as Hogan gestures, the 1776 T-shirt, classic.
Where'd you get that shirt?
I'll tell you offline.
What?
Can we?
Whoa! Now we got to hear the story.
No, it's not a big. It's a website called Land of Thee. They used to do a lot of stuff with. They used to do a lot of stuff with colleges. They kind of found a way around the trademark where they would say like 1848, and it was like an Ole Miss shirt, or 18 whatever for Georgia, and it would like do all these things where it didn't have to trademark. And then I think the trademark police popped them, so they had to change it to something else. But it's a great company.
When you said, I'll have to tell you offline, I thought you were going to say, well, I had to fight a guy for it.
No, I just didn't. I didn't know if we could like say another company. Like I don't know if we're like fucking. I don't have any relationship with them. I just whatever.
That's okay. Well, I'll send them an invoice.
This is how you get sponsorship money, Hogan.
Yeah, they're a sponsor now. They won't know it. I'm going to send them an invoice.
Yeah,
and then raise hell when they don't pay it.
Promo code Hogan at checkout.
That's exactly right, and they are proud sponsors. Not really, but of this, the Line Drive podcast. See how I did that there? Made it sound like we almost had a sponsor. But soon. I think we're going to do that soon.
Good.
Really
good. Sponsored by Arby's.
I want to, what's that?
Self-sponsored?
Self-sponsored by Arby's, yeah.
I want to encourage everyone to follow the podcast and like and subscribe wherever, whatever platform they're using to listen to this. Last week, we had a fantastic week. Kaelan, the show was featured on the homepage on Rumble and got, at last count, this was posted Sunday night, over 68,000 views on the last episode. So pretty good.
That's really good, guys. You guys are really blowing up. I can't wait to say I remember when.
Yeah. So if if you can do what
you thought you weren't called before, wait until after this show.
I'm telling you. Oh my goodness. This just means I've got to do something drastic in order to pump the numbers up for this one.
I know. So there's a lot to. Can you try to uphold your end of the deal here? There's a lot to follow through on.
Fine, I'll take my shirt off.
So yeah, twist my arm. I know we're covering a lot today.
Yeah,
but
let's get to it.
We want to tease the end because we're doing like our top 2 patriotic movies. Yes.
I think so. Top 2 or 3, not top several. How about that? Top favorite patriotic movies of all time.
One that represents the red, white, and the blue. That's 3 picks each, baby.
Yeah, sure. In any way that you choose to look at it, how you view it as patriotic. There's a message in there somewhere. Oddly enough, if you listen to the lyrics of "Born in the USA" by Bruce Springsteen, not a very pro-America song.
No.
But we will get to that. So thanks for the tease. But man, oh man, it's like the biggest story in the history of the world. Everybody won't stop talking about it in Washington because the whole world saw it last Thursday. Joe Biden really melting down on the debate stage. And the more I think about it, and Hogan, you and I already talked about this on the show that was seen by millions that we did on Sunday night. I'm still kind of shocked, really, the way this all happened and the way that it continues to play out. Like I was actually quite surprised that Biden came out and did what he did on Thursday night. I thought he was going to be able to power through it like he does the State of the Union, but I was obviously wrong about that. So because I was saying, everybody get ready. He's actually going to put on a pretty good performance. But then the way the media just erupted and completely turned on a dime and is now nonstop on the attack against Biden on this topic. And now the way the Democrats are starting to peel off and publicly, a couple of them are sticking their heads up saying, I think the guy may not have it anymore. Let's start with you, Hogan. As time goes on here, are you with me or what's your reaction to all this? My reaction is surprised by how it's playing out.
Yeah, a little bit, only because we knew this before the debate. This isn't new. So to pretend as though the media and the Democrats just found Jesus all of a sudden on this matter, when this has been obvious to anyone watching Joe Biden for the last several years, is stupid. Everyone knows this is a real thing. The media ignored it on purpose, or they lied about it. They talked about how sharp he was and how it's his best Biden he's ever been. People on Morning Joe and others.
Joe Scarborough said that. This is the best Biden of all.
Yeah, but then after that one debate, now all of a sudden he's got to step down. It shows you the ridiculous nature of the argument in the first place, that they were so impressed by Joe Biden. They weren't. Staff knew this. The media knew this. His family knows this. Everyone knows he has lost so many steps to this point. His rapid mental and physical decline has been obvious for a while. And so it's just kind of funny. Democrats, some are coming out, circling the wagons. I think ultimately that's what they're all going to do. Some are saying they need to pick somebody else because they don't want to lose their race and they know Joe Biden's a drag on the top of the ticket. But the interesting thing about the media is they're now saying, they should replace. Their members of the media saying they should replace. But I thought they didn't have a skin in the game. I thought they were just the journalists here, right? I thought they didn't. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter to them. They just wanted to report the facts. So the whole thing's kind of caving in on itself. I don't want our side to get complacent at all. This is when you have to double down and put several nails in that coffin, because they're not going to get rid of political power easily, and they're sure not going to let it go without a fight. So we got to be ready for that. But the whole thing is just nuts.
Yeah. Well, look, do you think the ballot harvesting machine cares that there's a turnip on the ballot? Right. No, seriously. Right. They're going to harvest those ballots. They don't care who the D is on the.
They don't care.
No.
I think, we spent a lot of time talking about will they or won't they replace him? I mean, I think if it was a party of common sense, they wouldn't replace him, right? The chaos of removing him from the ballot, of trying to finagle delegates, of moving money around, of all those things is not worth. I mean, it is a crisis, right? You can't remove him from the ballot without removing him from the presidency. I mean, at the end of the day, if that is your argument, is that he's unfit to run for office, why should he be allowed to occupy the White House any longer?
Yes.
Right? So the fact that they're coming out and they're really putting the screws to him like this is really interesting to me, if only because it kind of flies in the face of everything that they should be doing. They're so obsessed with defeating Donald Trump that they're willing to burn down everything they've built, this whole machine. So I don't think the ballot harvesting machine is going to function properly if they spend all of their time, knifing each other over this or that. Joy Reid actually had a really interesting, not Joy Reid, Donna Brazile on CNN this weekend made a really good point. She said, how the F are you going to put a white person over Kamala Harris? I mean, the knifing's already starting.
But
this job should be theirs.
She's not wrong about that.
No, she's not. If you're the party of DEI, by all means, Kamala Harris should be your Lord and Savior.
The Democratic Party of 2024 is all about identity politics. Frankly, it's kind of shocking that Joe Biden managed to become the nominee in 2020, given their identity politics issues that they've got, and DEI and everything, and it is all wrapped up in all. So if they do move forward with some kind of plan to replace Biden, skipping over Kamala Harris creates
racist.
Untold nightmares for them politically, internally. It would be unbelievable.
By their definition, they'd be racist, sexist, and bigoted.
They wouldn't know what to do.
They created.
Oh yeah, they would. They absolutely wouldn't know what to do. The various factions of the Democratic Party would tear the party to shreds from within. I mean, it would be having to replace the incumbent president during his re-election campaign, and then have an identity politics war within the party at the same time. I mean, holy smokes! You want to talk about unprecedented? Jeez.
Yeah. That's why I think it all goes back to to center, and they all just say, stick with Joe, to heck with it. Because look, I said they don't want to lose political power. They're about gaining and maintaining, or maintaining and gaining political power by any means they need to do to ensure that. People are saying, yeah, but the FEC rules and the money, that's problematic legally. And, the delegates are already they don't care about the law. They don't care. Democrats don't care about any of that. They'll do it if they think it benefits them politically. They don't care. I just don't think it benefits them politically. And the fight that would ensue, and by the way, on the record, I'm all for it. I would love to watch them implode on their own nonsense. But I think they're just going to say, look, you saw some of the spin from Jill Biden saying, 90 minutes doesn't define a career or a 3 year, 4 years worth of a presidency. Stick to that kind of line. Keep going. I had a bad night. Even Joe Biden said, I had a bad night. I'm sorry, but my policies are better and I'm better and all this kind of stuff. That's where they're going to have to end up landing.
Yeah. Well, here's Kaelan, I'll kick it to you after this. This is new today as we tape this midweek. Alex Thompson of Axios, who's been actually doing some pretty good reporting on this since everybody's allowed to talk about Biden's mental capacity in the media now. He was at a fundraiser in Virginia on Tuesday afternoon, Joe Biden was. And in his remarks, according to the pool report, he said, this is his new excuse. I decided to travel around the world a couple of times shortly before the debate. That's what he's saying now, because he had crossed the Atlantic Ocean twice in the weeks preceding the debate, that he was tired from that. And that's why he had a bad debate. He returned from his foreign travel 12 days before the debate. 12 days. And he says he was tired out from the travel. Never mind the fact that they sequestered him in Camp David for longer than a week.
Eight of them.
Yeah. He was at Camp David for more than a week. And now there's other reporting by Alex Thompson from Axios saying that they never began debate prep before 11 a.m. every day. And they always made sure that they gave him a break so he could take an afternoon nap every day. This is the guy who says, "Oh, I was worn out." Lord,
I'm so tired. Look, like the most telling thing of all this is that the guy can't stay awake between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. If it's anything outside of that, God forbid he get a call, right? And I'll read off the list. Abbey Gate, the terrorist attack in Kabul that killed 13 Americans. By the way, Americans have died on his watch in the military. I don't believe everything you see. Don't believe your lying eyes, right? Happened at 9:20 a.m. Eastern. That falls outside the window. Russia invaded Ukraine 8:59 p.m. Eastern. That's outside of his window. Hamas launched its attack on October 7th, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Sleepy Joe is sleeping tight.
Long time.
The Tower 22 drone attack in Jordan that killed 3 American servicemen. That was a little bit after 4 p.m. So this guy, they all think that the presidency is a part-time job, and that it's just simply, a funnel for the Biden crime family. And I want to talk a little bit about, and I'd love to hear you guys' takes on the fact that Hunter Biden has been in meetings at the White House all week. All week. He's just been there sitting in meetings, according to several reports.
That's insane.
Reported it live. What the hell?
He under no circumstances would a guy like that qualify for a security clearance. Under no circumstances, right? He would not be allowed to be in those meetings if he were not the president's son. Again, is it okay? Is the time now? Is it appropriate to remind people that Joe Biden has always claimed and still claims to this day that he has never ever once discussed what Hunter does for a living with Hunter, his own son? He has never discussed with his son.
He's going to court for tax fraud for all the money
that the boy does for a living. I've never had a conversation about it one time, even while having dinner with the people that the boy is doing business with. You've never discussed his work, not one time. Don't dads talk about work with their kids? I don't know.
Not those two.
Not those
Come
two.
on. Who are you kidding, Tim? Not those two. Okay. So much to unpack there. Great points, Kaelan.
Thank you.
There's so many pieces to this that are so problematic. When you're talking about the hours he works and all the things that happen outside of the hours, right? It's kind of a clear point to the world knows Joe Biden's not with it. They know he's weak. And I remember someone said, I don't know who to attribute it to, but they said something to the effect of, it turns out that it matters to more than just America who the president of the United States is. That's a great point. The world has a lot of issues that it faces when you have a weak president. And if I'm Donald Trump, I'm going to point out the fact, yes, Joe Biden's got problems. Everyone knows it. Now, what we've been saying for a long time, they called us liars. They called us fake. What do you know? They know now, they know it too, or now they're admitting it finally. So Joe Biden's weak, but this country is strong. And I'll tell you this, anybody around this globe who's even thinking about harming an American asset, American soldier overseas, the cavalry's coming in January. You touch one of our guys, I'm going to keep a log of this. And when I come back into office, there's going to be hell to pay. I would kind of point, Joe Biden's just kind of not with it. The toughness I have can do it because you've seen it before. I would almost kind of assume the role as like your president-elect here in some way and be like, listen, don't you dare mess with us in this time of weakness, because you'd be admitting Joe Biden's terrible, admitting we're weak, but we're not always going to be this way because you're going to have a tough leader, a strong leader coming soon. I almost kind of like that tactic to be like, listen, I'm the guy who's going to bring retribution to other nations who try and screw around with us. Here at home, we're going to be successful, but abroad, we're going to protect our assets and our partners and allies around the globe. I just think that's a smart thing he should do.
They would be strong. Kaelan, what do you like? What do you think about that?
No, I mean, I think you're 100% right. I mean, I'm the son of a retired colonel in the military, and I can't imagine having family serve this nation with a cadaver in office the way that they, that he's been serving for 3.5 years. I don't know how anyone's getting any sleep, and I think that alone, the torture and anxiety that he's been putting everyone through for 3.5 years. You hear a lot of people talk about how exhausting it was to cover being America during Trump's presidency, and a lot of people are overjoyed and relieved that they don't have to deal with the mean tweets or whatever, right, in their lives. But none of that was tangible. None of that was real. It was all manufactured, as opposed to the real life hellscape that Joe Biden is turning our country into. I mean, we're going to talk about our favorite American movies. We're approaching the 4th of July. I mean, what even is the American dream anymore, guys? Not to be, too, out there and ethereal, but like, no one knows. No one knows what that looks like because it's unattainable under this president. It's truly disgusting. Also, Joey Chestnut is not competing in the hot dog eating contest this year, and that never would have happened under President Trump.
That's true. Absolutely true.
You think that's true?
Yes.
Yes.
Really? he would have been able to prevent the there's an issue with like a fake meat hot dog sponsor, right? Isn't that the
kosher
problem?
dog?
Kosher dog, but it's like a plant-based dog.
By the way, at Ole Miss's spring game this year, which there are no more spring games, it's just kind of a fun day. Joey Chestnut came and did a hot dog eating contest at Ole Miss's spring game this year. Our coach,
he didn't do that for free. Somebody paid him.
Our coach DM'd him. He showed up. I don't know what he got out of the deal.
Yeah,
35 hot dogs. I don't know.
A little bit more.
That's it.
I want to talk about the media a little bit more with regard to this whole Biden mess. So Jill Abramson, who used to be the executive editor of the New York Times, was interviewed by Semaphore. And here's part of what she said. She said, "It's clear the best news reporters in Washington have failed in the first duty of journalism, to hold power accountable. It is our duty to poke through White House smokescreens and find out the truth. The Biden White House clearly succeeded in a massive cover-up of the degree of the president's feebleness and his serious physical decline." All right, sure. The White House absolutely engaged in a cover-up, and it worked for a long time, I would say, with the complicity of the media. So here you go. She continues on, Jill Abramson, and this is, I believe, this is what I've been screaming about for years. I believe this is the first, and probably maybe not the first, but certainly the highest level of any actual journalist who has actually made this submission. And I think this is a monumental admission here. She said, "I do think if enough reporters had pushed, the story was reportable about Biden being old and feeble and all that stuff." She says, "I worry that too many journalists didn't try to get the story because they did not want to be accused of helping elect Donald Trump. They purposely failed to report what they were witnessing because they thought it would help Trump, and they did not want to do so. That is unbelievable. That's partisan. All of those people should be yanked from the White House and never be allowed to cover that beat again. They should be going to cover county boards of supervisors or school boards or something, and not covering the White House. That's outrageous. That now somebody's, I mean, I've always known that was the case, but for someone like Jill Abramson to say that she thinks that's what happened, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. How does the media ever recover from this? Can they? Serious question.
I don't.
You guys are, have I stunned you into silence?
No, I'm just trying to process it. Look, I mean, I think the media as we know it is already dead.
Yeah.
And it's thanks to, I know this podcast goes on places like Rumble, but this is thanks to the very things that the left, that big tech and social media and all of them have spent years creating in order to control, have backfired. Now we have this whole marketplace of ideas, of competing opinions, of competing, shows. Of everyone is empowered to go out there and do their own form of journalism or commentary, whatever they might be fit, right? And I think that they really jumped the shark. They didn't understand, what they were creating this entire time. And I think that in of itself was a death blow for journalism. But I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. There is no coming back from this.
Look,
I don't know how anyone can trust any of these institutions anymore.
How can you trust any of them? How can you ever?
And I say all the time that the media's popularity sits somewhere between Congress and COVID. I say that all the time because it's true. No one trusts them. No one likes them. Look, we called CNN the Clinton News Network in the 90s. This is not a new phenomenon that the left controls the media and that they try and cover for their candidate, cover for their issues. I talked about the deep state, how it's not just who they prosecute, it's who they protect. The same thing applies to the media. It's not just who they go after, right? It's who they protect. They've been protecting Joe Biden for a long time. And this revelation by Jill is 100% accurate too, by the way.
Just nobody says it out loud.
I know. And the quiet part being said out loud amplifies the problems with the media. Listen, you can love this guy or hate this guy, but someone like James O'Keefe, who at Project Veritas releases these hidden videos, he catches people on camera, saying something different or revealing big information about a corporation or big pharma or media industrial complexes or the Pentagon, whatever video he has, that's like tailor-made for any curious journalist to go, wait a minute, grainy video, someone admitting something in private that no one knows in public. And they never do any journalism like that. They never cover anything he brings to the fore. Again, love him or hate him is not the point. The point is he's actually bringing you information that is unique and that no one knows, that's devastating to these industries. And it's like that kind of stuff didn't exist anymore. It's just carrying water for the left. And it is so appalling and disgusting.
Well, how many examples? In many ways, what the question I asked was rhetorical. Can they ever recover from this? Because they're going to press on like they didn't screw it up, right? Just like they always do. How many times are they going to get these gigantic stories? I would submit to you that the fact that the president of the United States is a doddering old man who can't keep it together sometimes when he's supposed to be doing his job as leader of the free world, that's a pretty big news story. And to be participants in preventing that information to get out is a pretty monumental scandal, I would say. But it's not the only time they've done that. I mean, look at everything that involving COVID. What happens is, what they do is, it's just like Jill Abramson said, is that if there is an issue and Donald Trump is very publicly on one side of that issue, the media choose to be on the opposite side of it and become actual advocates for that side.
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump is on the other. It doesn't matter what the issue is. And they have selected some real doozies. Everything involving COVID, they were opposing Trump simply because he was Trump. where it came from, how it was transmitted, all the different medicines, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Over and over, the laptop. They're always choosing the side opposite Trump, and they're getting burned every single time, and every single time it's worse. This is the worst one yet.
I knew we'd come to the laptop sooner or later.
Yeah, I know. I can't resist.
I got something on that too, but go ahead, Kaelan.
Well, I was going to ask kind of I mean, I know you guys like to keep it a certain length, but do you think, this is a little thought exercise for you, do you think this still happens if it's not Trump on the ballot, if it is, I don't know, anyone else? Like if it's a different, is this generic to Republicans or is it?
Yes.
I don't know.
They attacked Donald Trump. They attacked Donald Trump worse and harder than they ever have any other Republican in history. But let's be clear.
Yeah.
They called George W. Bush a war criminal and a racist. They said milquetoast Mitt Romney and his rallies with Paul Ryan were reminiscent of the George Wallace South. They said the same thing about John McCain and Sarah Palin. It was like a Klan rally, that they were racist. It's said about Reagan. It's the same crap that they peddle all the time. And when I was in the White House, I got countless inquiries from the media, from a source at the FBI who said X. And I would say, all right, well, I was in the meeting, that never happened, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to go with that source. Or just a story in general, we're not going to comment on it, but I have a source in the FBI, a source at the Pentagon. Think about the Afghanistan withdrawal. When Joe Biden said, I didn't get any intel that this was going to be a disaster. I didn't know that this was going to happen. You're telling me one of those reporters who asked me those questions all the time about a source, they couldn't call one of their sources in the Pentagon and find out whether or not Joe Biden was briefed on the problems that would inevitably occur? You're telling me they couldn't call one source at the FBI to see if the Hunter Biden laptop was real, the Ashley Biden diary was real, anything on Russia? They couldn't do any of that when it has to do with Joe Biden. But for us, they take those sources and ping them all the time to get information, get confirmation, make up stuff. It doesn't matter. That was so frustrating to me in that building. And now you see what happens when the opposite person from the opposite party is in the office. They can't be bothered to ask those questions. They don't care because they don't want it to be true.
Yep. I got to tell you, that's something that it just frosts me to no end. And it's like this, it's so helpless too, because you can see it, you can rail against it, you can gripe about it like we do every week. Heck, twice a month, I write a column in the Washington Times, mostly complaining about media. And it's so sometimes it seems so pointless because it never gets better. It only gets worse. And, what are they going to police themselves? No.
Yeah.
Well, what is the solution? I mean, at the end of the day, what do you think the solution is?
I think we're seeing some of that in real time.
Yeah, I mean, look at the troubles that the Washington Post is having. It's eating itself. It's losing
You're seeing
money
it in real time.
Yeah, I mean, these things they've lost their monopoly on it. There's 7 million options for people to get their information and their news. They can get it without a filter. They can get it with a filter that they prefer. They don't have to get it from the Washington Post or CNN.
Mm-hmm.
They can get it from they can get it from us if they so choose. But there are millions of different ways now with the internet, and I think it's cutting everybody down to size. These were the giants before. Previously, you needed to have assets to be able to spread a message far and wide, like the Washington Post. You needed to own printing presses. You needed to be able to hire reporters. You needed to be able to have a distribution system. And it required a lot of capital and a lot of assets to be able to actually run a news operation. Now you can do one from your phone.
Well, that's another reason they didn't like Trump, was because he went to Twitter and didn't use them as a filter. He just went ahead and said it. And they didn't like that, right? They wanted to work sources and find out information. Now, they did plenty of work in sources, don't get me wrong. But, they resented him for that.
So here's another one. You remember when the special counsel, and the tapes that are at issue, the reason why the Attorney General got found and held in contempt of Congress for failing to release the tapes of this interview. This is one paragraph from the written report that gave. And remember, when he issued this report and he basically said that Joe Biden was unfit to stand trial in the documents case, the Democrats went nuts. And the media went nuts also, saying, oh, it's a political hit job. He was
Yeah,
over the top. He didn't need to use the language that he used. It was calculated. He was trying to kneecap Biden, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, listen to this paragraph. And in retrospect, you decide who was right. Was it her, or was it the media and the Democrats? Here it is. We have also considered that at trial, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview of him, as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. Based on our direct interactions with and observations of him, he is someone for whom many jurors will want to identify reasonable doubt. It will be difficult to convince a jury that they should convict him, by then a former president, well into his 80s, of a serious felony that requires a mental state of willfulness. The Democrats went nuts over that. And now, based on what we saw on the stage on Thursday night,
Right.
seems to, and you know what? There were reporters on Capitol Hill, or rather in the West Wing, who had seen Biden in action, had seen a lot of these lapses, and sat on it. And when everybody was attacking her, they never stood up and said, I've seen him act like that too. And everybody on the White House staff has lied.
If the tapes were good, they would have released them as soon as that debate was over.
Of course.
They'd have been like, watch this.
It's just, I swear, having Hogan like you and Kaelan and I, having lived through a time where we were called everything under the book because we were in the communication shop with Donald Trump, either in the administration or on the campaign.
Did you say everything under the book?
Under the sun, everything in the book.
I was like, that's a new.
Yeah, sorry, I realized I had mixed that up. And I was
hoping fancy education, but I don't know if that's real.
But to see these guys from inside the White House, these people from inside the White House, lying still to this day, lying about how, believe me, Biden keeps a schedule that tires out the younger aides. Give me a break. He does not.
No.
If these people are ever hired by someone else to be a spokesperson, there is no justice in this world. They are openly lying still.
Hogan, were you the guy who tweeted that you'd hate to see how out of shape the Dem staffers are if this girl wears them out?
Yeah, you retweeted it. Thank you.
For
that.
Yeah.
It was basically if this guy, when staffers say or said that he runs circles around them in private or that he wears them out, I'm like, how out of shape are these staffers exactly? This is really bad.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, I'm talking, of course. Now remember, there's all kinds of stuff that comes flooding back now. Now that, once again, now that it's been dragged out into the public and we're allowed to freely talk about the fact that Biden is impaired. Remember when he turned down the Super Bowl interview?
Yeah, sure.
Remember? And everybody said, how can you do that? There's going to be, 300 million people watching. What are you doing? And they said, listen to this. And Oliver Darcy, the fact checker from CNN, wrote a story about how Biden turning down the Super Bowl interview was part of a larger strategy. Preventing 300 million people from seeing an interview is part of a strategy, I guess. The strategy is don't let anybody see. It is, but not the way they described it. Their strategy was don't let anybody see Biden because he's losing.
Right.
But they sold it as protecting the public because the public had political fatigue. And we don't want to do that. It's a strategy, try to keep people fresh. We're not going to oversaturate them with Joe Biden.
Political fatigue is Joe Biden.
Right. It couldn't possibly have been that they were never in a million years going to set him loose on live TV in front of 300 million people because God knows how it would have ended up. That's what happened. And so when you look back at all these things in retrospect, you realize how many times did they lie about this?
Yep.
How many times? Over and over and over. At a certain point, it just becomes part of who you are. Andrew Bates is who I'm talking about. But
I knew he was going to come back up too.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else on that? Can we talk about something?
I think we can talk about something else unless Kaelan has an exclamation point for us.
The final point I'd like to make is that they're not asking the most important question, which is who is running our country if he is this vegetable?
Yeah.
The American people deserve to know that.
So many
Truly.
questions.
Who is
So
making
many
these decisions?
Questions.
There are serious decisions that are made every single day. And if he is unavailable, taking a nap, incapacitated, or if he's in one of these states, which they're saying now are more and more frequent, who's making these calls? Who's doing it?
Yeah, and Kaelan, you said something about the beginning of the debate where he lied and said no one had died on his watch. If the campaign or the PAC or somebody doesn't put a destructive ad having the Gold Star families like losing their mind over something like that, that is a huge missed opportunity, because that guy flat out lied about that on stage, and everyone needs to just excoriate how offensive is that to those people who have endured the loss of a loved one fighting for this country, to have the commander-in-chief say, no one has died under my watch. It was your decision that sent them there. You were told it was going to be a problem by your top brass of the Pentagon. You ignored them and did it anyway. I mean,
wait, let me ask you, what do you guys think? What's the source of that? I mean, honest to God, how could Biden, why would he stand up there on stage and say that? That's not the sort of thing
when he took office.
Do you think he really believes that does he not remember that day? Does he not remember? He truly does not remember that 13 service members died that day.
I would be willing to bet that someone over there has told him, "Oh no, sir, everything's fine." Like it wouldn't put me past it. Just the way, not to get too deep into like conspiracy theory territory, but the way that Jill Biden has behaved over the last 2 days is weird.
Weird.
It's disturbing. She's never been this front facing before, as far as I know. Like it is almost as if she's been feeding him whatever, she and Hunter, just whatever, to make sure the crime family stays afloat. It's weird.
Have you seen the clip of her? Everyone saw the clip after the debate, like feeding Joe the 3-year-old lines, like, you answered all the questions, Joe, like that. But you see when she turns to the crowd and says, "And what did Trump do? He lied." Have you seen someone dub in and we're going to go to South Carolina. We're going to go to Mississippi.
Oh, is it, what's his name? What's Howard Dean.
Yeah, Howard Dean. So good.
That is funny. How about the timing of that Vogue cover? Man, oh man.
Ooh,
so they
she is the first supermodel we ever had in the White House.
Yeah, that just reminds everyone that none of those magazines put Melania Trump on the cover. We had an actual supermodel as first lady who did not get covers of magazines, and Jill Biden is there with her $5,000 coat or dress that she's
Ralph Lauren dress. Yeah.
But so on Sunday night, the whole family is sequestered at Camp David. And Hunter and Jill are telling Joe, "You got to stay in there. You got to hang in there. The crime family depends on it." Right. And the next day, she's on the cover of Vogue looking large and in charge. I mean, it's talk about tone deaf. Has anyone ever accused the Biden team of actually being good politically? I mean, I know that they're in the White House right now, but I think the media and COVID had a little something to do with that.
A lot had a lot to do with that. But
yeah.
So,
they're talking about mistakes all the time.
What else are we talking about? We're doing Supreme Court topics.
You want to talk? You want to talk?
Cranky. Huh? You do this all the time now, Tim? Does he get cranky? Like he's got to keep the show moving all the time?
Oh, I don't know. Obviously, he's got something to say about the Supreme Court.
No, I don't. I'm just asking if we're going to talk about it. And then, Kaelan, is your Captain America? Is that movie quality?
It's a Lego.
Oh, okay. So
I built it from scratch with my own bare hands.
Okay.
Well, what do you make? Let's talk about the immunity case anyway. I mean, since you shamed us into talking about it, Hogan.
No, whatever. We did the debate last week. We're still kind of talking about the media's
out. Because it's I'm still
with me last week, but that's fine, man.
Yeah, you weren't here. You weren't here. It's all right. It's all right. We can recap some of it. But the media stuff keeps going on and on and on. The way they're revising their own history on this thing is
it's incredible.
It's mind-blowing. I just don't understand how they can do it with a straight face. But anyway, the immunity ruling by the Supreme Court. I mean, honestly, I know the left is just freaking out beyond all freakouts. Was it even this bad when Roe v. Wade got overturned? I mean, this kind of feels worse, almost. I don't remember AOC filing impeachment articles over that, and she says she's going to do it for this one. To me, all they've really done is nail down what was sort of already in effect anyway. Didn't everyone already sort of have the working understanding that presidents do have effective immunity for official acts while they're in office? I mean, wasn't that always sort of understood anyway?
No, not but for like 250 years. But other than that, no.
Oh, yeah. So for 250 years, sure. But all they really did, in my mind, is just basically codify it, right? And the left is going bonkers, once again, forgetting that, they will be in the White House sometimes. Sometimes it's like when they don't understand that when they do something, it will one day be used against them.
Yeah.
What the Supreme Court ruled will also cover Democrat presidents as well. I'm not sure they understand that.
That part of it, to me, was one of the most jarring pieces where I realized, wait a minute, this actually did drive down the temperature and settle the dust.
It really did.
Yeah. The line, it was very commonsensical. And of course, I think this is a big win for the Trump campaign. It delays more, which is good, but also kind of level sets. But the line was, the presumption of immunity applies to all occupants of the White House, of the Oval Office, rather. Now, you just hit on that, Tim, and I was on TV arguing about this with someone recently, and I was like, that's good, because if the president of the United States did not have the presumption of immunity, and I were a Republican attorney, I'd be a billionaire by Christmas, because I would sue Obama for Fast and the Furious, for droning American citizens without a trial and killing them, maybe even for that tan suit he wore. I'd sue Biden for sure for the women who've been murdered and raped, the children, the burglaries, the homicides, all those types of things, because he let those people in the country. I'd get after Clinton for Lewinsky on a criminal trial. I'd go after him for bombing that aspirin factory or whatever he did to try and change the narrative there. I'd just go hog wild on Democrats. And someone brought the person on camera, said, well, wait a minute. But Hogan, don't you understand it's way different? See, because don't you think it's different? Because Donald Trump actually called an elected official and had a conversation about finding votes. Don't you think that's important? And I'm like, yeah, let me tell you, that is a big difference. You're right, because Donald Trump had a conversation with an elected governor about cases of illegalities, irregularities, and anomalies. Obama killed somebody, an American citizen, without a trial. Joe Biden has allowed women by the tens of thousands to be murdered and raped by illegal aliens. Yeah, it's a big difference. One of those is way worse. And if I was an attorney and this ruling had not gone the way it had gone, you better believe I would go after every single one of those former presidents and future presidents for decisions they made while in office.
Yeah, that's all true. It's all precisely true. And also, when Democrats are running around trying to fan the flames of this, and they say, and you saw, it was like talking points got distributed, and everybody posted their thoughts on X at precisely the same time, because they're all running around saying, oh, so I guess that Biden could just drone Trump right now and say, oh, it was an official act, sorry, and he'd be able to get away with it, right? So, I mean, jokingly talking about, and I take them as joking, but jokingly talking about actually assassinating Donald Trump, right? To try to prove a point how ludicrous they thought this ruling was. He could drone him right now. That is, I saw somebody, I don't know if it was Byron York or somebody, but said that kind of comeback, saying, well, why doesn't he just launch a drone strike against his political opponent and be done with it? That shows that is aggressively showing that you did not read the ruling. Aggressively, because it quite clearly in there, it uses as the example bribery. We're saying if a president engaged in a bribery scandal, then it could be shown that he had taken some sort of policy action. And then a prosecutor in a court of law, could show that he was either accepting a bribe or promised a bribe in exchange for taking that official act, which he then did. So they used bribery as an example to say he would not be able to get away with this under this ruling. So Democrats who say all these what ifs, they clearly didn't read the ruling, or if they did, they don't care. They're lying because it's too good politically for them not to lie. And if they talked about what the ruling really was, like Kaelan just said, the fact is it tamped down, I think, the temperature on this. And it actually, if you read it, is exactly reasonable by my reading of it anyway. I don't know. Kaelan, what are you hearing about? What do you hear from folks? Does anybody actually, other than card-carrying Democrats, does anybody get wound up about this?
Well, what I find the most fascinating is that these people talking about droning droning their.
You've seen that, right? It's over.
Well, yeah, these people are the same ones that for like, I don't know, 3-4 years now are the ones been yelling, "We have to protect democracy." Just the hypocrisy truly knows no bounds. It's just absurd. The whole thing is just absurd to me.
Didn't Joe Biden brag about bribing somebody?
He did
overseas in Ukraine when he was like, "Hey,
blackmail,
hey,
really.
Burisma, fire this guy, or you don't get the money."
Yeah, it's like a reverse bribe.
Right.
Yeah,
Quid pro quo, they might call it.
Some would say that.
Many people are saying, yeah.
Many people are saying. All right, so we've been running pretty long here, 45 minutes in. But that was good. It's a good idea to talk about the Supreme Court case. That was a big deal. Independence Day movies. Kaelan, what do you think? Can you give me 2 or 3 of your, not Independence Day movies necessarily, patriotic movies? Doesn't have to be Independence Day focused.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with Team America: World Police.
Good one. I mean, what's the patriotic message there in your mind?
I don't think you can say
America. Yeah. What do you mean?
What's that?
I don't think you can say what the message is.
No,
on here.
You can't.
It's so good. It's a really good one.
I came with a bunch of fake answers like Dodgeball. It's a true underdog story.
That's true.
When I think about politics and patriotism, I think about the movie The Campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis.
This is stupid.
Hogan, not impressed.
I got him, baby. Sorry, I had to spice things up a little bit. I can't be Sonny.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, obviously.
Obviously, they're just it's free market capitalism.
All right, so I'll play for real. How about
hold on? My for real movie though?
Go ahead.
Mel Gibson's the what is it? The Patriot.
The Patriot. Yeah, that's good. That was what Sonny was going to say. That one.
Yep.
Before she took ill.
Before she passed, or whatever you said earlier.
No, she has taken ill. She has a cold or something. She's all right.
She has a bite.
The Patriot, and what else? The Patriot's good. I had pulled a clip for that, but then something got in the way. We're not going to use it. But the scene where his son gets shot and killed, and that's what launches him into the revolution. That's pretty heavy duty.
Oh,
yeah.
I know. Takes that axe and does some quick work.
He does.
If
you go on YouTube, there's a whole section practically, the tomahawk scene in The Patriot.
That's what I mean. He takes that tomahawk and makes light work out of the whole deal. Listen, the evil guy in that, the villain.
Yeah,
I met that guy at the Correspondence Center. We had a long conversation.
The evil British general, that guy.
Yeah, I'd forgotten like all the movies he was in, and I think we only talked about like 1 or 2. I can't believe I didn't think about The Patriot at the time, but or Harry Potter, for heaven's sakes. He's also Lucius Malfoy.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
he was pretty menacing in The Patriot. He was pretty scary.
Yeah.
When I think patriotic movies, I think of movies like sports movies too.
Yeah,
sure. You know, movies like Airbud.
Miracle, that's a good one.
Miracle's good. What did you say?
Airbud.
Such an idiot.
What are you talking about? We can have you back on when the category is movies no one has ever seen.
You've never seen Airbud?
Everyone's seen those, Tim.
I have not seen Airbud. No.
Are you?
I know what it is. It's about a flying dog that plays volleyball or something. What does he do? Plays basketball. Plays basketball.
He actually beats out Michael Jordan for his high school basketball team.
My favorite memes are the ones where it's like the parents of the kids who lost to Airbud. He's like, "You mean you lost to a golden retriever?"
That's good.
Okay.
That's funny.
Airbud.
All right. Well, sorry.
So Hogan, go ahead.
I had a couple. I think the Patriots won. I always love
Patriots.
watching that. Fires me up. Both Top Guns, 1 and 2, very patriotic.
I remember when I saw Top Gun, the first one in the movie theater. I was in high school. I think it was like 1985 or something like that. And man, if they had put Navy recruiting tables out in the lobby of the movie theater, everybody was going to sign up.
Yep,
that would have been amazing.
I thought 2 was basically Star Wars, but on Earth. It was basically the same plot, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, they had to blow up the thing, whatever. Tough.
And I think everybody remember when there was a whole hullabaloo over that movie too, because it was too, unapologetically pro-America. It was a bro movie. It was very masculine.
There was a patch on his jacket about China or Taiwan or something. I can't remember. And he wouldn't take it off, and they got mad about that.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, China got mad about it. Right. China wanted to take that out of the movie somehow. Yeah.
My last one, though, maybe because I live near it and I just think about it a lot. I think Lincoln was a great movie with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, Lincoln.
Yeah, was very. It kind of so much of what America was doing at the time. Obviously, one of our darkest days, but the way we came out of it by having a president with the guts. By the way, he'd also get sued if he didn't have immunity afterwards for what he did with the Emancipation Proclamation. While we're on the subject, but first Republican president, freed the slaves. I just think it's a real testament to this country, and I thought Daniel Day-Lewis did an outstanding job as Lincoln. Not that I have the real Lincoln to compare him to, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Kaelan, you sure you don't want to add Hot Tub Time Machine to your list?
Captures the American spirit of the 70s.
That movie is 80s, but that movie was great.
Oh, 80s.
Really?
Sorry, you're right.
That's another one I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if this counts.
Chernobyl was what they spilled on it was like a drink called Chernobyl, and they spilt it on the time.
You would love it, dude. It's all about screwing the commies.
That's funny. All right, I'll give that one a try. Never mind. Forget what I said.
I'm going to tune in next week to see if you.
Oh yeah, well, I'm not going to do an episode.
The last half's going to be a review of these movies.
We made Sonny do an episode talking about her watching Groundhog Day for the first time.
I know. I saw that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to do one for Hot Tub Time Machine. Sorry.
Sounds pretty
Your loss.
All right, so I don't know if this counts as a movie or not, but I want to say Band of Brothers, the entire series. Which in my mind, that kind of goes hand in hand with Saving Private Ryan to me, as far as what I imagine a realistic look at what the war could have looked like, World War II, as maybe as close as Hollywood can possibly get to simulating it or showing what it was like and what those guys actually went through. I mean, that anything about World War II and America just coming to the world's rescue to me is just an endless supply of patriotism for me while watching stuff like that. And I was gonna say Independence Day, which is a really good movie, and it happened. The climax of the movie happens on July 4th, the big showdown with the aliens invasion. But it's not really it sort of is a pro-USA patriotic movie, but it's not really, because it's about saving the world from global conquest. So, I mean, I guess I'll allow it. But
what's more American than that?
Yeah, but it's not really America against the world. It's I don't know. It's more globalist.
It's the world against other.
Yeah, but to me, I'm not sure, because if you listen to the president's speech, is it Bill Pullman? Is that the name of the president?
Yeah.
If you listen to his speech, it sounds like rah rah rah, but it's actually like a very globalist speech. And I'm trying to figure out who is in the role of the aliens for that speech. Is it Adam Schiff? Could be.
I don't like that movie.
And I had Top Gun on my list also, Hogan, but I'm going to round it out. I'm going to say my ultimate choice for most patriotic movie, by my estimation, is Rocky IV, when Rocky avenges Apollo Creed's death and beats Ivan Drago. Solid movie. USA against the Soviet.
By the way,
can't go wrong.
Captain America with the shield right behind Kaelan, that counts.
Yeah,
totally.
Do you like the Captain America?
Totally.
I haven't seen that one either.
Gee,
sorry to say.
What do you freaking do with your free time, dude?
I know. You know what I'm going to see tomorrow? I'm going to see Despicable Me 4.
I'm going to. Yeah, me too.
Are you really? It's opening day tomorrow.
I'm aware. We got 8:25 p.m. tickets. Gotta get ready for the baby.
Yeah, Kaelan is a father to be. How's it going? How much time do you have left?
Many people have been calling me daddy for many years, so it's totally okay.
So when is she due? How much time until the big day?
December like 19, 20, Christmas baby.
Christmas baby.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
You told me that before.
gonna be a
That's
lot of
exciting. It's going to be a little girl. Yes.
That's right. We got a name picked out. We're doing the whole thing. Maybe we'll do the name reveal here live on the Line Drive podcast.
Really? That would be something.
Talk to her about it.
Your
wife
and
be okay
daughter
with that?
never forgive you.
You run that house, don't you, Kaelan?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, right.
I will say I'll reveal a secret to you. So before the show, I had to ask Carly to do something, and I muted myself. It is because I used Uber Eats to get a Dairy Queen Blizzard delivered to my house. And it took like an hour for it to show up. I don't know what was taking them so long. So it was supposed to be here well in advance of the pod, and it did not make it. And so that's just been sitting in my freezer, I assume.
What'd you get in it?
What?
What'd you get in the Blizzard?
What kind of
Well,
Blizzard?
I want to preface all this by saying I've lost like 15 pounds, so everyone can kiss my butt.
Hey, man, you're entitled. Whatever.
So my new thing is I get two. So I get one.
What?
I
You get two Blizzards?
I get two small or two mediums. So I get one flavor that I've never had before because we got to experience, try new things in life, right? You get a little adventurous.
How many are there?
And then I get
Well, I mean, there's endless permutations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So I get one that I've never tried, and then I get tried and true Reese cup.
Yeah.
Tried and true research.
I want to go back to the idea that you're ordering two Blizzards for yourself.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot.
It's not. You get smaller portions. I don't need to get two larges.
You know, it'd be so great.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
If you walk out of here and you're
What?
like, and Carly, she had them just sitting on the counter and they're just all melted. And you're like, wait, what? And she's like, you never said put them in the freezer. I thought you were going to, I kept thinking you were coming out here.
Oh my God. So you ordered Uber Eats to bring you one Blizzard tonight? Just one? Two. So you did order two. Okay.
Yeah. It's a little far away. The Dairy Queen's far away.
And you wonder why the terrorists hate us. As you're ordering two Blizzards.
The thing is, Tim,
by Uber Eats.
The wonderful thing about it is that I can leave as big a tip as I want, and no one will have to pay taxes on said tip.
That's true. Very clever way to rope that in.
Okay. Message.
Yes, on message. Very good. On that note, I think we should probably hang it up for the night. Hogan, good to see you as always. Thank you. Kaelan, thanks for sitting in, pinch hitting. Always good to see you.
Happy 4th, everybody.
Yeah, happy 4th, everybody. Not sure. We're going on vacation, a family vacation next week, going to South Dakota and Wyoming. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to squeeze in a show next week or not. It depends on the travel schedule, but it might be difficult.
Flying or driving?
We're flying out to Rapid City and renting a car there and driving all over God's creation across South Dakota and down through Wyoming and everything. Going to see all the stuff, taking the kids, Mount Rushmore, Devil's Tower, Crazy Horse, all the way across Wyoming. I have Harriet Hageman is my client and a good friend. And if I can cross paths with her, that'll be great. So, going to be fun. It's going to be a good trip. So anyway, it's good to see you guys. Happy Independence Day to you.
On the way, too.
I do. A Blizzard is a fine treat. It really
What's your favorite Blizzard? What are your favorite flavor? I know Hogan doesn't anything but like birds.
I haven't had one in many years, but I likewise would probably go something with peanut butter cups in it. Definitely.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with peanut butter cups.
Hogan, how would you meal prep?
I don't like Oreos, but I like Oreos in a Blizzard.
Yeah.
When's the last time you had a Blizzard?
1978, 79, somewhere in there.
Then they were called something different.
It really has been. It's probably since high school.
They're supposed to do that thing where they turn it upside down and show you that the spoon won't come out, right?
Yeah.
They're supposed to do that. Does the delivery guy do that?
No, he's not a Blizzard technician. So.
Oh,
that's great.
Is that like being a sandwich artist?
Yeah, you got to go to school for that.
Okay. On that note, I think it's probably time to go. Good to see you guys. This has been the Line Drive podcast.